YouTube, this is Runner, and this is my pre-fight predictions on UFC 144, Edgar versus Henderson for the lightweight title in the UFC. It's going to be a banger. The fight card's looking pretty good. It's pretty stacked, and I think there's too many fights for me to predict, so I want to predict 4 or 5, and then the rest I'm just going to do my predictions, just show them at the end, just like who I think is going to win. So let's get on to the 5 predictions. Yeah, first fight I'm going to predict is in the heavyweight division. We have Mark Hunt versus Cheick Kongo. Cheick Kongo is 17-6-2, and Mark Hunt is 7-7. I think he's lost 7 of his fights. Obviously, he's lost 6 of his fights by submission and 1 by TKO, which is by my boy Mervin Manu. Both these guys are very good strikers. Mark Hunt has great chin, good striking. Very big, powerful legs. Cheick Kongo is about 6'5", crazy physique, big puncher. This fight really doesn't interest me at all because I don't like the way Cheick Kongo fights. I think he fights very caged, and Mark Hunt, he just lets it all hang out. But he's not an MMA fighter. He is a kickboxer. Breaking down this fight, I just think it's going to be a boring fight. Cheick Kongo is going to be trying to hold him against the cage, and I think that's just how it's going to go. I think it's going to go 3 rounds, and it's just going to be Cheick Kongo holding Mark Hunt against the cage. I don't think he'll take him down, but I just think it's going to be a boring fight with Cheick Kongo winning this fight by decision. Yeah, and I think the UFC didn't get rid of Mark Hunt after this, even though I do like him because I used to watch him a lot in K1, but he's not a mixed martial artist, and that's just my opinion. So I'm going to go with Cheick Kongo for the win by decision. Next fight we have in the welterweight division, we have Jake Shields, who is 26-6-1 versus Yoshihiro Akiyama, who is 13-4. Yeah, 13-4. Before, Akiyama was 185, and before he came to the UFC, he used to fight open weight, and I had him in my top 10 pound for pound fighters because he used to fight open weight, and I think you've got to give a lot of respect to guys that will fight out of their weight class, basically. Akiyama, since he came to the UFC, he's looked very poor. He's lost 3 fights on the bounce. The fight that he did win against Alan Belcher was controversial. A lot of people think Alan Belcher won that fight. So we've got Akiyama coming off 3 losses, and we've got Jake Shields coming off 2 losses, 1 to GSP and 1 to Jake Ellenberger, who knocked him out. So basically, the loser of this fight is going to get cut from the UFC, and that is a definite. Jake Shields is a out-and-out grappler. He used to say back in the day that he is a grappler in mixed martial arts. His striking is still very poor. Akiyama has the better stand-up, but his cardio is a problem. I'm not sure how Akiyama will be at 170. He's going to be the bigger guy than Jake Shields. I think his striking is going to be much better. His judo is pretty good, but Jake Shields' grappling, I think, is the overwhelming factor, and I think he's going to be able to take down Akiyama in this fight, hold him down, maybe submit him, because Akiyama has been submitted before in his career, and I think Jake Shields has the superior jiu-jitsu to do that. But I won't be surprised if this went 3 rounds, went all 3 rounds by decision, and it's just Akiyama with Jake Shields on his back, just try to fight him off for 3 rounds, and that's how I think it's going to go. I'm going to go with Jake Shields by decision against Akiyama. And now in the lightweight division, we have Joe Lauzon versus Anthony Showtime Pettis. Joe Lauzon is 21-6, and Anthony Showtime Pettis is 14-2. Anthony Pettis is a great fighter, came over from the WEC with Benson Henderson and Donald Cowboy Cerrone. He's got great jiu-jitsu. He's a purple belt, same as Joe Lauzon. His striking is a lot better. I think he's a third degree black belt in Taekwondo, which with his striking, it's pretty phenomenal. Joe Lauzon, in my opinion, is Mr. Hot and Cold. Sometimes he can have great fights, submit people really quick, starts off quick, but he gasses towards the end. The Sam Style fight, he started off quick, almost got him in submission, gassed. Joel Soteropoulos fight started off nice and quick. Caught Joel Soteropoulos, showed a few openings in Joel Soteropoulos' game about his striking, then got submitted later on. Who else? Melvin Guillard started quick, got Melvin Guillard in submission, choked him out, and he was a top contender. I'd say he was probably next in line for the belt. Let's see, Anthony Pettis, far better striker. I'd say Pettis has a better guard, but Joe Lauzon has the better submissions. Me personally, I think this fight is going to go 2 rounds. I think Anthony Showtime Pettis is going to get this fight finished. I think Joe Lauzon's going to come out nice and quick. He's not going to be able to get Pettis to the ground and finish him. And I think he's going to gas, and Pettis is going to finish him late second round, early third. And I'm looking forward to Showtime Pettis because I like the way he fights. He comes to bang, and he's just an all-round fighter, and he's very good at what he does. And Joe Lauzon, he's Mr. Hot and Cold. He's like a shogun. You don't know what kind of fight you're going to get coming into this fight. Is it going to be a good Lauzon, or is it going to be a Mauricio Shogun Ho Lauzon? You know what I mean? It's just hot and cold. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to go with Anthony Showtime Pettis, second round TKO. And now moving on to the co-main event, we have Quinton Rampage Jackson, who is 32-9, versus Ryan Dark Bader, who is 13-2. Ryan Dark Bader is coming off a win against Jason Brills, where he knocked him out first round, which was pretty expected because far better striker, and I think this fight was going to stay on its feet anyway. Rampage is coming off a loss against Johnny Bones Jones, where he got choked out, which I think I predicted in the third round or fourth round, but you have to look back on one of my fight cards. Anyways, this fight is very interesting because we've got Ryan Bader, big heavy hitter. We've got Rampage Jackson, who is a big heavy hitter, former UFC light heavyweight title holder. So, looking at these two fighters, either fighter loses this fight, they're going to be in a world of shit. If Ryan Bader loses this fight, he's going to be 3-1 in his last 4 fights, and if Quinton Rampage Jackson, he's going to be 2 in the hole in his last 2 fights. I think Ryan Bader is the better wrestler, and does he pack more power? I'd say on a level basis, both of these fighters pack big, heavy punches, but Rampage Jackson has the better chin. I'm not sure if Ryan Bader lands one of his big haymakers. Could he knock Rampage out? Well, it's a possibility. Rampage, I think if he hits Ryan Bader, he'll put Ryan Bader away. But Ryan Bader needs to be smart in this fight. He needs to take Rampage Jackson to the ground and dominate him from there. I know Rampage has a very good takedown defense, but that is mainly based on his strength. I think because Ryan Bader is a big guy, I think he's going to be bigger than Rampage. He's about 6'2". His physique doesn't look very drained once he's cut down to 205. In my opinion, I think Ryan Bader should take this fight to the ground and dominate it from there. But I don't know why. I just see Rampage walking Ryan Bader down, and even though I think Ryan Bader will get him to the ground quite a bit, I just see for some reason that Rampage is going to win this fight because he's back in Japan and he's back with his fans from when he was at Pride, and I hope that Rampage wears them black and white American Stars and Stripes shorts for this fight, because I think that'll be awesome. But I'm going to go with Quinton Rampage Jackson winning this fight by decision, even though I think Ryan Bader will dominate the fight. That's just my opinion, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, Ryan Bader losing to Rampage Jackson by decision.
It's time!
And now we are on to the main event, which is Benson Henderson versus Frankie Edgar for the lightweight title in the UFC. Frankie Edgar is 14-1-1 and Benson Henderson is 15-2. Look at both these fighters. Both of these fighters are very well rounded. Benson Henderson is going to be the bigger, stronger guy. He smashed through the last 3 fighters that he was fighting, which was Clay Guida, Jim Miller and Matt Bocek, who I think give him the best fight out of them three guys. Frankie Edgar, well, what can I say about Frankie Edgar? He's coming off 2 epic fights against Gray Maynard and 2 fights against BJ Penn. My opinion, he lost the fight against BJ Penn, the first one. Second fight, he won hands down. The first fight with Gray Maynard, I say he lost. And the second fight, he finished Gray Maynard. But he got caught, and he got caught bad in them 2 fights. Because Gray Maynard has big power in his hands. And, well, Frankie Edgar found out what it's like to get hit by him. Anyways, back to this fight. Ben Henderson is going to be the bigger, stronger guy, powerful wrestler. He's got good hands. He's not going to be as quick as Frankie Edgar. But I think that's the only advantage that Frankie Edgar has in this fight. I think he's got the speed advantage. I think Benson Henderson is going to be stronger. He's going to be able to dominate him. They're both the same, pretty much, well, same level belt-wise with the jiu-jitsu. Looking at Frankie Edgar, he needs to get in and out very quick with his striking and try shut Ben Henderson down. 5-round fight, I don't think he's going to be able to do that. I just see Frankie Edgar in this fight. He's fought a lot of time. He's took a lot of chances. He's been burnt a lot of times in his fights with Gray Maynard, and I think it's about time that Frankie Edgar's heart and chin gets tested properly this time. And I think, in my opinion, I think Henderson is the better all-round fighter, better submission guy, better striker in terms of power, better grappler, better jiu-jitsu. The only thing I give Frankie Edgar in this fight is the speed advantage, but I think Benson Henderson will be able to shut Frankie Edgar's game down by taking him to the ground and beating him up pretty bad. I'd say Benson Henderson is going to win 1, 2, 3 and 4, and he's going to finish it in the 4th. He's going to beat Frankie Edgar to a pulp, and I think he's going to get to the submission, because his submission are slick and his submission defense is, well, even slicker. I just don't see Frankie Edgar as much of a threat. I think he's too small for some of the guys that are coming into this weight class. I know he's beaten big guys like Matt Beach, but I think Benson Henderson is a very trim 155. I think he fights at that weight class very well, and he's got a gas tank like you wouldn't believe. So, in my opinion, I think that Frankie Edgar's going to lose his belt. It's going to be interesting. I think he should move to 145 after this fight and give Jose Aldo a run for his money, because if Kenny Florian can fight one fight at 145 and get a title shot, then Frankie Edgar should be able to walk into a title shot against Jose Aldo. So I'm going to say Benson Henderson is going to win this fight. He's going to win by a submission in the 4th round after beating Frankie Edgar to a pulp. And yeah, that's just what I think is going to happen in this fight, and that's how I think it's going to go. So yeah, that's it really. Yep, and that's it for my UFC predictions. 144, Benson Henderson versus Frankie Edgar for the lightweight title. If you've got predictions, let me know in the section below. Post your comments. Let me know what you think. Subscribe. And this is Runner signing out for my UFC predictions. 144. Peace.
B Productions.